Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome not back to the railway but back to Birmingham once again for another massive model railway show. Now after Warley last year we did not think we would ever be here again because sadly the Warley Club cancelled the Warley exhibition. But the Warners Group, who is responsible for RM Web and BRM, the magazine, they have organised a new show this year called the National Festival of Railway Modelling. And it's here at exactly the same location as Warley, same venue, same hall, same day, and of course it's dedicated to the same subject as well. But it's a new show, we are here again, but obviously because it is in the same place, people are going to draw comparisons between this new show and Warley. So the big question on everybody's lips is this going to be as good as Warley? Is it going to be better than Warley? Well, that's hopefully what we're going to find out. So let's jump in. So here we are in front of the Accurascale stand and there are tons of samples here. Some of them we saw last year, but they've been developed and painted up so they're looking even better. I think the big one for me was the pannier tanks, which are now fully decorated. We've got a very vibrant looking Great Western Green there, which is an interesting livery. Yeah, just really get a sense of what these models are going to be like. Quite a few ex-Hatton samples here as well. We've got the Beal hacks fully decorated, so they look like they're almost ready to go. And as usual, a whole load of Accurascale rolling stock, which is all painted up, decorated samples. They look pretty much finished as well. And one of my other favourites, the book jumper. We've got some decorated samples here. You can really get a good sense of the liveries. And I particularly love the metalwork on this blue one. Yeah, amazing models. Great to see so much development from Accurascale. And I mustn't forget to mention Accurascale's O-gauge rustern. This is actually the first time I'm seeing these in the flesh with their decoration on. Some great liveries here, looking brilliant. And the word is that they're not too far from delivery now either, which is exciting news. So before long, we'll be seeing Accurascale's first ever O-gauge loco. And I'm going to be cheeky and ask if I can touch their Hunslet, which sounds like a euphemism, but it really isn't. I really do want to touch their Hunslet. Might not let me, but I'll ask nicely. Can I ask you a cheeky question? Can I touch your Hunslet?
Can you what?
Can I touch your Hunslet?
Of course you may. I mean, you never normally ask, you just do it.
My God. Damn. There you go. So I'm right in saying die-cast running plate, heavy metal tanks.
Everything that's black.
Everything that's black is metal apparently. So it's basically just the cab and the detail bits that aren't there. Now that makes a big difference. And of course these are beasts, aren't they, in real life, so you want that.
Is it heavy?
It's really heavy, yeah. Seriously heavy. What does it say, 250 grams? Oh, there you go. So this is seriously heavy without the motor. And has it got a flywheel as well, this one? So that's going to be, what, 10 grams easy. Look at this as well. Can you see those? Each of those bars looks like it's a separate part. I bet that's fun, isn't it, in the factory? Jeez. So here we are outside the Hornby stand, which is looking a little different this year actually, because they've got a massive play trains exhibition. And they were telling me why this was. Apparently in previous exhibitions, kids would want to come and play with the proper trains. Well, I call them proper trains, you know what I mean. And the parents would be apologising, saying, oh, I'm sorry, they're touching the trains. So obviously now they've got play trains, that's not a problem anymore. They can touch that, they can mess with it, they can do whatever they want. And of course, that should help them to catch the model railway bug as well. I've never actually used play trains before. Oh, there's points and stuff. That's exciting. Pretty easy to put it together, to be fair. Hey? On the side?
That's it, where you thumb. Right where you thumb.
Oh, right.
No, you thumb. Other one.
Oh, okay.
5+.
Look at this. This is something you never want to see in real life. Chloe driving a train. It is fun though, isn't it? To be fair. Onto the proper trains. There are some awesome samples here. Locomotion number 1. This is actually the first time I've clapped eyes on that model in the flesh. You know, I've seen photos. This is the first time I've actually seen the thing, so that is awesome. All the little intricacies are there, amazing. TTJ50s, I was talking about this on a live stream not long ago, saying I don't know where they are in production. Well, we've got decorated samples, so they're obviously quite advanced. Had no idea these were anywhere close to being ready, but here they are fully decorated. The flirt is looking absolutely amazing. I can't believe how complex this model is. The interior lighting and the interiors too look amazing. Really impressive models. Got some pretty fancy looking J36s here. It's a very sort of bronzy looking khaki, that, which I like. It's interesting about khakis, isn't it? None of the khaki liveries match each other. See, there's great variety there. And then of course there's the beautiful sort of transitional LNER/BR green here. Gorgeous liveries on these J36s. Back to TT, they're also showing decorated samples of their Class 66, and here they've even got one of these things running. So great looking models and good performers as well. I wonder if this is going to be the next TT release. Fingers crossed these will be here before long. I suppose the biggest announcement of the show came from Hornby as well, because they've announced a brand new 00 gauge Great Northern J13. And looking at these samples, it's clear that the model's at a relatively late stage of development. Engineering samples on display, they look absolutely fantastic. But the elephant in the room, obviously, is that Rapido are also doing a J13. But there's also quite an interesting story behind this. Obviously, everybody's going to say, oh, it's more product duplication, blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, it is, but not entirely. So apparently, about a year ago, Hornby approached Rapido and said, look, we're doing a J13 as well. Ours is too far along to cancel, and so is yours. So what they've done is, according to a Facebook post, you can see there's Rapido and Hornby together with their J13s. They've sort of divided it up a little bit. They're both doing slightly different versions of the class so as not to overlap each other too much, which I think is great. Now, in the past, people have said to Hornby on the subject of product duplication, can't you talk to other manufacturers and figure things out so that you're not just duplicating things? And this was back in the Simon Kohler era. The answer was no, we can't collude with other manufacturers, it's illegal. Well, maybe it's not then, because now we've got manufacturers working together. And this is all very nice, Hornby and Rapido working together, and it's all very nice, isn't it? But at the end of the day, it's still investment money going into two J13 locomotives. And you know, some people will probably want both, but if somebody's in the market for just one J13, they've got to make the choice between Hornby's or Rapido's. And whoever they don't choose is missing out on that sale. So I do suspect that this very public display of collaboration was really done to downplay any drama that might have come from this, which is commendable. You know, it's good that both companies are okay with this, but let's not pretend that this product duplication isn't going to hurt both companies, because it is. Now they've got to share J13 and J52 sales between them, and no matter what positive spin you put onto it, that isn't great, is it? But it is nice to see that this isn't some devious and deliberate product duplication. There is some element of collaboration here, which I think is nice to see. But yeah, what do you think about this? It's a very interesting and unique situation. Not seen this before. Will be interesting to see how it pans out. Now, I've not been able to do my research on the two models yet. I don't know about the specs and the prices and stuff. I'm going to look at all of that ready for the next news video, but on the surface of it, it's a very, very interesting situation. These are good, Chloe. Have you seen these before? I like a Warwell. They call me Mr. Warwell in some parts. So here we are at the Oxford stand, where there's one or two exciting things to see. I think the main one obviously is the J26, and we've also got the NER version, which is a P2, I think it is, not the P2 you're used to. Yeah, this livery is just outstanding, absolutely gorgeous in the lining. I think it's the nicest of the J26 and 27s that I've seen. Nice with the red coupling rods as well. And we were just saying about how we've got a beautiful finish on the safety valve bonnet there, which matches the similar band at the front behind the smoke box. So this is a demonstration of the finish that the boilers are going to get, in contrast with the more matte finish smoke box, which, like we were saying, makes a massive difference to the look of the thing. They've also got a sample of the crane. It still looks like a 3D print, but you know, they're still showing it at least, so that means hopefully the crane is on the way soon. So apparently this mechanism is actually going to be functional and movable on this crane. And that, I think when you first announced it, everyone was expecting it to be a very basic, static sort of model. So the fact that it's actually going to have some features to it is really, really awesome. So yeah, I think we showed this last year, a year ago to the day. You can see the progress that's been made, and apparently this is going to be the next project after the 060s. So exciting to see it progress. And we'll be back next year and see how it looks. They've also got a layout here too, which I've not seen in Oxford before, and it's pretty interesting. The operations of it are pretty unique. Right, I think this is the scariest thing I've ever seen on a model railway. Just watch these wagons. You ready for this? What the heck? And it stops just clear of the end. I'm tempted. 3 for £25, that's crazy. Madmen. Got to buy something.
£25.
Lovely, thank you. Now that is not something I've ever seen at an exhibition before. So Steve Purves of Accurascale, who's a designer for them, has a bit of a sideline, which is this little miniature railway, and the crazy lad's only gone and brought it here to the exhibition. And what's more, he said I can have a drive.
Anyway,
all right, you ready?
When you're ready.
All right. Ready for a drive?
Ready? You don't want me to record it?
No, go for it. Is it all right maxed out? That was awesome. Now that's satisfying.
When you get to the station, there's a sleeper sticking out.
All right.
Line that up with your feet.
Okay. Well, that was just awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed getting to drive the little battery operated train. So Steve, if you're watching this, thank you so much for that. And Steve does do events, so if you're interested in booking a miniature railway, do get in touch with him. And now for a short intermission, because, well, night has fallen and the exhibition's closed. So we gotta wait till morning. And we're going there for food. Goodbye for now. Well, the crowds have gathered once again for day 2, and there's still a lot that we haven't seen, so itching to get back inside to cover a few more manufacturers for you. So here we are at the Rapido stand, and there is so much here to talk about. I've got my phone because I've had to write a list, and even then I'm probably still going to miss some things out. So samples, lots of development since last year. We've got lots of prairie samples. There's even a rotating prairie, so we can see what that's looking like. Nice engineering prototype there, model really coming along nicely. There's also the Great Western B-sets, gorgeous looking coaches these, and of course we get to see their interiors. Let's see if I can get a shot of the paintings on the walls. There you go, should just about be able to see that. We've also got the Manning Wardle samples here. I really do love this open cab Manning Wardle. It's just right up my street with how unusual that is looking. And it's also clearly a massively detailed model. Really looking forward to seeing the liveries on these actually, because that is going to finish it off just perfectly. I've also seen some of the Evolution coaches for the first time. I've not actually clapped eyes on these before, so quite cool to see these. And of course the fact that they've even got engineering prototypes of these already is quite amazing. The speed at which they've progressed with this project is mind-blowing. So again, hopefully this time next year will be even more progress to look at with those. There's also lots of progress on the O1s. Obviously, Rapido revealed the decorated samples for these a little while ago, but this is the first time I've seen them, so really nice to see those in person. I'll go over all of this stuff in more detail in the future, of course. And also for the first time, I've seen the Ivor the engine stuff. It's right here, actually. Amazing. I just cannot wait to see this stuff running around on people's layouts. Maybe some people will be snobbish and say, oh, I'm not having that. That is not me. Obviously, I have no means to be snobbish looking at my layout. But yeah, this is really exciting to me, and seeing it in person, even more so. These fireless locos look a bit substantial, don't they? I mean, that's a very large, featureless, well, normally it'd be a boiler area. I suppose it's not a boiler. But yeah, that looks like it's going to be a big heavy thing, doesn't it? All made of metal. Really small as well, tiny little locos. I have to say I've not really thought too much about these, but now I've seen them in the flesh, really looking forward to them. And look at that little etched plate on the side as well. I don't know, something about these just scream quality to me. Yeah, really looking forward to it. And there's the liveries, of course.
And here's something I've never seen before at an exhibition. Over the weekend, Rapido are actually designing a wagon live in front of the crowd. So we can actually watch the team here designing this LBSC 10-ton van live right in front of our eyes, and hopefully they'll finish it by the end of the weekend.
Our friends from West Hill Wagon Works are here as well, and their stand is absolutely massive this time. They say it's the biggest stand they've got, and it's sort of 360 degrees all the way around, so people can approach it from all different sides. But it's not really the size of it that's impressive, it's the fact that they've been able to fill it. The number of products these guys have got is just insane, and of course it's all made in-house. If you want to see my video I did at West Hill, check out the link up there. Really impressive setup, and here is the fruit of all their labours. So here we are at the Ellis Clark stand, and I think the biggest attraction here is the new quad arc coaches. Now they're saying that these are going to be available pretty soon, Q1 of 2025 apparently, and I was lucky enough to just take a real close look at these things. Ellis Clark put it in my hands. It's very heavy. Actually, this is some real precision here. Those little handrails next to the doors are really lovely. And you don't think you'll see it on this shop, but we've got all paintings, luggage racks. They look like they're separate. A lot of detail on the underside, and roofs that are unclippable. And all this roof furniture is separately fitted as well. And of course, with them being articulated, very unusual for coaches of this era.
Here's a little look at the War Department Austerity 210. I think this was just a 3D print, was it, last year? I forget now. But this is very much an engineering prototype. You can see it's looking a lot more refined now. All the details there. And of course, this looks like a shot from the tooling. So, tooling complete? Yeah, great progress with this model as well.
I also couldn't help noticing the amazing O-gauge Pullman coaches with these incredible interiors. Look at those lamps and everything. I think this is why O-gauge is just awesome, because it just allows you to get that little bit of extra detail in, a little bit of extra wow factor.
So yeah, lots cracking off at Ellis Clark, and I'll be interested to see some of the new projects when they finally come out. Now, I have to say, as much as this has been a really enjoyable and well-organised exhibition so far, it is noticeably, I think, smaller than Warley used to be. It felt larger at the start because near the entrance they have used the whole width of the hall, but back here there's a lot of empty space, more than there ever was at Warley. So overall, I would say not quite as much to see as there was at Warley, and there's no Dapple and no Bachmann here this year either. But there's still a few manufacturers that we haven't checked in with yet, so let's head over and see if we can find KR models.
So here we are at the KR Models stand, and one thing missing is KR himself. Apparently he's overseas. Not showed his face this time, can't say I blame him. So the stand this time is being run by a sort of KR Models spokesperson who was quick to distance himself from the KR Models brand. So KR isn't here, but the models are here, so we can look at least a few of those. So there is a decorated sample here for the Bullied Leader, which looks pretty fancy. Unfortunately, Big Bertha is still sort of undecorated, which is a shame. I was kind of hoping to see some decoration on there. There you go, that's Big Bertha for you. It's actually a reasonably heavy thing. It's obviously still in relative early stages, but I think this boiler is made of metal. Pretty heavy stuff. There you go. Not held one of these before, so that's a bit of a first. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this turns out. But there's the Bellerophon sample. That's looking pretty decent. Again, no decoration on that yet. So I think mainly the progress that's stood out for me is the Bullied Leader. But yeah, at least KR is here. Well, KR isn't here, but the KR Model stand is here. And so at least that means that they haven't fallen off the face of the earth. At least there is still some progress taking place. Hopefully that leader won't take too long to arrive. So here we are at Revolution Trains, and there's quite a few things that caught my eye. The first one isn't brand new or anything, but it's not something I've seen before, and that is the N-gauge nuclear flask wagon, which is obviously a much smaller version of the 001 that I looked at. Looks absolutely amazing, that, and of course the 001 was so good, you can only imagine how good that one's going to be. In terms of newer stuff, they've got the Class 18s, which are exclusive to rails. Those are really looking fantastic. Very large shunting locos, those. They've also got the little narrow gauge 262 samples, beautiful looking tank engines these, and you can also see how these are DCC chippable through the front of the smoke box door, which I think is going to be pretty convenient for such a small loco. You can also see there's a lot of stuff going on here. I didn't necessarily realise how many products Revolution had in the pipeline, but looking in the cabinets here, there's actually quite a lot to look forward to, particularly, of course, if you're interested in N-gauge. There's a fair bit of 00 as well. So yeah, exciting times for Revolution. And the thing I really love about Revolution, they were telling me yesterday, they're all sort of middle-aged blokes, hopefully that's not offensive to say, and they're not really bothered about making an absolute fortune doing this, so they just make what they want to make. They make what they think would be cool, what they think people would be interested in, and they don't really care about making a fortune. And so that's given rise to some really interesting prototypes being covered. You can see some of them here. We've got the WIA car transporters here, beautiful looking models in 00, and of course most of it's in N scale too, and these models are just great looking, aren't they? Some really cool stuff from Revolution, and I really love the way their business kind of works. And the Talyllyn Railway are here as well, as you can see, and that reminds me of the last time me and Chloe got caught in the pouring rain during a video. Check that one out if you haven't already. But yeah, the Talyllyn are here to raise money for their locomotive number 75, who went out of boiler ticket last year apparently, so obviously not a cheap process to get that thing restored. So yeah, it's got to be overhauled, and that's what they're raising money for today. So hopefully in the, well, not too distant future, we'll see this lovely blue loco, which looks amazing in this livery, back in service before too long. Now what's over here? Just had to stop and film this because we've got the beautiful Megsdorf layout, but it's got a special feature. Look at this. I wonder how that works.
That's really cool.
Oh, there's a rod sticking out of his back. Someone's made a rod for his own back. That's outstanding. So there's a huge modular layout here by the Nearly Competent Modelers Association. Look at this. We've got some of my own wagons on an exhibition layout. I would not have expected that. That is very awesome. Thank you for doing that. Look at this. It's like a serious Lego layout with loads of detail and different buildings and such on it. Absolutely amazing. Probably one of the better bridges I've ever seen. Yeah, I think I can honestly say I've never seen anything like this made of Lego before. It's just insane. So there you go then folks, that was it for our trip to the National Festival of Railway Modelling, the first time this show has been on. And generally, yeah, it's been a really good show, we've enjoyed it, there's been a lot to see. We were here for both days and we've been able to fill them very well. The big question was though, is this better than Warley? And I think in our opinion, me and Chloe, we would say probably not quite. There are some things that were done better. We think it was better organised. We think the layout of the stands inside meant that there was less crowding, so that was good. On the downside though, I do think this was a smaller exhibition than Warley. So they did use the whole width of the hall down at the front end, but then down at the back there was a lot of empty space. I would have said back in the Warley days, a lot more of this hall was filled. It was also missing a few familiar faces. No Dapol this year, that was a real shame because Dapol always have some interesting things to show. And of course, no Bachmann, and that obviously is a big deal because Bachmann is one of the industry's biggest manufacturers. So I'm not too sure why those weren't here. It's obviously nothing to do with the organisers or anything. But the fact is, it did cost us £80 for the two of us to come here for both days this time, which is more than Warley cost us. So it's kind of like paying a bit more to get a bit less, which isn't that great. Also, they didn't offer a full weekend ticket, so we had to buy separate tickets for both the Saturday and the Sunday, which is why it ended up costing us so much at £80. And frankly, today on the Sunday has been much quieter, almost dead in places. So you've got to think perhaps if they did offer a slightly discounted weekend ticket where you get both days for maybe £5 or £10 less, then maybe more people would have been here on the Sunday. Hopefully that's something to try for next time. But nevertheless, there was still a lot to see here. There was a lot of manufacturers here, even if a couple of them were missing. And as always, lots of great layouts and most importantly, lots of great people. So hopefully you've enjoyed this tour of the Festival of Railway Model. It's a tricky name to get your mouth around. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you couldn't make it to the show, hopefully this video could help you to experience some of the show. Chloe, what do you think? Will we be back next year if they do this again? That's a thumbs up. Yeah, I think I'd give it a thumbs up. Yeah, we always loved coming to Warley. We were really sad when that got cancelled. So I think this is a worthy replacement, and hopefully the likes of Bachmann and Dapol will decide to come, and then it can be even bigger, and maybe one day they'll even fill the hall. That'd be nice. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, folks, and we'll catch you again very soon for another video. All right, cheers everybody. Tatty bye. Take care. I'm off.